Chapter 9 covers information about blood, the lymphatic system, and the immune system. And I'll start with a quick discussion of blood and its components. It is a connective tissue that is a liquid connective tissue. The liquid portion is plasma, and it has a solid component, which are the blood cells. There are three types of blood cells. Erythrocytes are red blood cells, and their job is to transport oxygen and carbon dioxide. They are the most abundant blood cells. There's more of these than any of the other two types. And they contain hemoglobin, which is a molecule that contains a red pigment. And this is what gives red blood cells their color. This molecule carries oxygen and carbon dioxide. The leukocytes are white blood cells, and their function is to protect the body from infection and to aid in the healing process. White blood cells can perform phagocytosis, which is their ability that they have to ingest and destroy bacteria and other foreign material. There are two types of white blood cells, granulocytes and agranulocytes. And so I should say these are two categories of white blood cells. So within those categories, the 5 different types of white blood cells fall. 3 of the white blood cells are granulocytes. These are the neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. And the other 2, monocytes and lymphocytes, are agranulocytes. And really that just has to do with what they look like under the microscope. The granulocytes have visible, like a grainy appearance in their cytoplasm, whereas the agranulocytes do not. And the third type of blood cell are thrombocytes. These are also known as platelets, and their function is to initiate blood clotting to prevent blood loss. And what's unique about platelets is that they are actually cell fragments. They're not complete cells. So the other component of blood besides the blood cells is blood plasma. Blood plasma is the liquid portion of blood, which contains mostly water, but also some ions, carbon dioxide, oxygen, nutrients, proteins. So as far as blood types, you hear about people having different blood types, type A, type B, and there are 4 different possibilities, and it's based on the antigens that are present on an individual's red blood cells. So there are 2 different antigens that you could have in different combinations. You could have antigen A, antigen B. You might have both, which means that you're type AB, or you might have neither, and that means you're type O. You can think of the O as like a 0. You don't have either one of those antigens. So we'll move on to the lymphatic system. You can see the functions listed in your outline. There are like 3 main components of the lymphatic system. First of all, lymph itself is a watery fluid that is carried or transported through the lymphatic vessels. The lymphatic vessels are very similar to veins, and they drain excess fluid, which is called lymph, from tissue spaces and return that fluid to the blood, which is actually where the fluid originally came from in the first place. That fluid leaks out of your blood. And lymphatic tissue contains white blood cells and phagocytes, which destroy foreign material and microorganisms. And some examples of lymphatic tissues would be your lymph nodes, the spleen, the thymus, which is a gland located in the chest, and the tonsils in your mouth. Okay, and now a little bit about the immune system. So this is the system that protects your body from disease. It's our primary defense mechanism. And there's 2 types of immunity. Innate immunity involves all forms of resistance that you are born with. There's a first line and a second line of defense. First line barriers involve, they are preventing pathogens from entering the body in the first place. So these are things like on your skin surface or your skin itself, and the secretions that come through your skin, like tears, saliva, sweat. And then second line barriers, these offer protection if pathogens penetrate the first line barriers. So if a pathogen actually does get through your skin and into your body, we have cells and chemicals and various processes like inflammation that can help destroy those pathogens. So that's innate immunity, things that you're born with. They last for your entire lifetime. They're not specific against any one type of pathogen. And then there's acquired immunity, which is developed after birth based on your exposure to various pathogens. And this involves the B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. And there's two types of acquired immunity. Humoral immunity protects the body against extracellular pathogens. So these are pathogens that are located outside of your cells. This includes bacteria. And it involves the B cells. So when they encounter a pathogen, they will multiply and produce many plasma cells, which then make antibodies and memory B cells. Antibodies will either neutralize or inactivate the pathogen, and the memory B cells are available to defend the body at a later time if that same pathogen is ever encountered again. And then cellular immunity protects the body against intracellular pathogens, things that invade a cell, like a virus, a parasite, and also cancer cells. So this involves the T cells, whereas humoral immunity involved the B cells. So when T cells encounter a pathogen, they produce a couple different types of T cells. Cytotoxic T cells directly attack and destroy the pathogen. And memory T cells, just like the memory B cells, are available to defend the body if the same pathogen is ever encountered again. So now further down in your outline are word roots, combining forms actually, with you have the vowel included that are related to blood, lymphatic system, immune system, and also a few prefixes and suffixes related to those body systems. So pathology, like diseases and disorders related to these body systems. The first one in your outline is anemia, which is a deficiency of either hemoglobin or erythrocytes in the blood. So because of that, you're going to have reduced oxygen. The most common type is iron deficiency anemia, caused by a lack of iron in the blood. And if you're lacking iron, then your body's not going to be able to produce as much hemoglobin, because iron is a big component of hemoglobin. There's also sickle cell anemia, which is a genetic disorder that causes the production of an abnormal type of hemoglobin. So the erythrocytes actually have an abnormal sickle shape, which is why it's called sickle cell anemia. The next one is AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. It's an infectious disease caused by the human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. So this virus attacks immune cells, especially the helper T cells. So it slowly breaks down the immune system. An allergy is an acquired abnormal immune response. So it's basically when an individual has a hypersensitivity to a particular allergen. An autoimmune disease is when the body fails to distinguish between self and non-self. So basically, the immune system attacks the body's own cells because it can't tell the difference between its own cells and foreign cells. So that results in destruction of cells and tissues within the body. Infectious mononucleosis, this is mono. It's an acute infection caused by a virus. Okay. for oncology, there's a couple different types of cancers related to blood and the immune system. Leukemia is a cancer in bone marrow that affects blood cell production. So it leads to the overproduction of blood cells, but these are actually non-functional blood cells. So they're not performing and they're not doing anything good for the body. And when these cancerous cells take over, it actually inhibits the production of normal blood cells and normal, especially normal white blood cells, which provide immunity to the body. Hodgkin's disease is a type of lymphoma, and this is cancer that affects the lymph nodes. And multiple myeloma is a malignant tumor of the plasma cells. Remember, these are cells that produce antibodies, and this is located in bone marrow. Other diseases and conditions, a hematoma is a localized accumulation of blood. So basically, it's like a large bruise. You can see that here. Let's see. Hemophilia is a genetic disorder that causes impaired blood clotting. So basically, the individual does not they're lacking clotting factors to allow for blood clotting. So they will bleed profusely with even just a small injury. Sepsis is a blood infection due to the presence of bacteria or toxins in the blood. Systemic lupus erythematosus, or also just called lupus, is an autoimmune disease that causes chronic inflammation and it affects multiple body systems. And then just some medical and surgical procedures. Bone marrow aspiration is the removal of bone marrow using a needle for examination. A bone marrow transplant is the infusion of healthy bone marrow after diseased bone marrow has been destroyed, either through chemotherapy or through radiation treatment. Sentinel node excision is the removal of the first node, which is known as the sentinel node, next to an area affected by cancer. And that's to prevent the spread of cancer. And a transfusion is the infusion of blood or blood products, like blood cells, from a donor. And 3 different blood tests that can be performed to help diagnose a disease or condition. A blood culture is a blood test used to determine the presence of pathogens in the blood. A CBC is a complete blood count. And that's a blood test that measures the amounts of red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and hemoglobin. And partial thromboplastin time is a test that measures the length of time it takes for blood to clot. So that would help diagnose a bleeding disorder. And for pharmacology, anticoagulants prevent blood clot formation. Antimicrobials, these are responsible for preventing bacterial growth. Antivirals prevent the spread of a virus. And 2 more, immunosuppressants decrease inflammation by suppressing the body's natural immune response. And thrombolytics, those are used to dissolve blood clots.